Hey, this is the Big Hardcore Gamer, and in this video I'll be reviewing a new indie game which I previously checked out during the Steam Next Fest, The Spirit of the Samurai. I want to say thank you to Kwalee Games for providing me with a review copy. At the time of making this video, it is only available on PC through Steam, and there's no details about a console release at the moment. Before I get started, I want to give the disclaimer that this is a pre-release copy and obviously doesn't include the day one patch. I have been given my feedback about some issues that I've experienced while playing, so some of these issues may be fixed on or after the game's release. However, I can only review the game that I played in the state that I played it, and not the version that will come later. This review doesn't include any story spoilers, but I will show some gameplay from various sections of the game to demonstrate any points that I'm making. Please watch to the end of the video, like and share it, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Right, let's get into it. The Spirit of the Samurai is a 2D action-adventure game with Metroidvania elements. You play as Takashi, a samurai summoned to battle hordes of Oni and other creatures drawn from Japanese folklore after they have attacked his village. Throughout the story, you'll play as three characters: Takashi is Cat Chizai, through some stealth sections, and a small Kodama spirit imbued with magical powers. So let's start off by talking about some of the positives. The animations and overall presentation. Now, this is actually what piqued my interest when I saw the trailer for The Spirit of the Samurai. The studio has a background in film and animation, and this is shown throughout the game. They use handcrafted stop-motion animation for the cinematics, as well as the animations for the three protagonists and monsters, both of which are high quality and don't feel jarring to look at while playing. You can tell that a lot of effort went into the designs of each of the monsters you face, from the undead samurai to gargoyles and for much bigger bosses. They definitely went with an horror theme for this game. In my video for the demo, I actually said it should have been an October release to be in time for Halloween. I love the voice acting, and I was actually glad to see that they went with voice acting rather than making the player read a load of text to discover the story like a lot of other indies do. I have both positives and negatives for the combat. The best thing about the combat was that you have customizable combos. There are 5 combo patterns available: up, down, front, jump, and cover attacks. You can have up to 3 move combos for each of these. You'll start off with 2 attacks for some, but as you level up Takashi, these attack slots will open up. There are 24 unique attacks in the combat system, which are unlocked as you upgrade Takashi's stats at the Incense Shrine. There are 4 stats to upgrade: strength, resistance, dexterity, and bow damage. When selecting the move you want to add to the combo, it will give you info on the level of damage, the number of hits, and how fast it is to use. And then you can either place it into an empty combo slot if there's one, or replace a move in an existing combo that you don't like or isn't as powerful. Another nice touch when it comes to customizing your combos is that you don't have to do this at a shrine. You just need to press the inventory button and then RB to move to the combat system and make your changes. I found this very useful because there were times when some combos that I set up just wasn't working out well for me, so I'd do a quick edit and then get back into the fight. You also have different input options for the combat. You can either use the left stick for the direction while pressing the attack button, or you can use the right stick for all attacks by moving it in whichever direction you want to attack. So up for up attack, forward for forward attack, etc. Each move of the stick is in whichever direction will result in a sword strike without the need to press the attack button. I played the first half of the game with the attack button because I didn't realize that you can do this. When I realized, I switched to just using the right stick because it was actually much more responsive and I was pulling off the combos much easier. I actually think that they should have just made a decision on which method they wanted to go with and perfected it, but the choice is there for whichever method you prefer as a gamer. I mentioned that you can upgrade the bow damage. You get standard arrows and will also find fire arrows for more damage. These can be purchased at the incense shrines as well as found on the zombie samurai that you kill throughout the game. Just make sure that you loot their bodies. Some enemies will drop incense that you'll use to buy projectiles, potions and healing flasks, as well as arrows. You can buy kunai that can be assigned to the buttons on the D-pad. The potion I used a few times towards the end of the game was one that increases your damage, as there was a certain annoying group of enemies that I needed to deal with pretty quickly. During gameplay, there are two bars that you need to pay attention to at the top of the screen. The bar on the top middle right depletes as you take damage. When it empties, you'll lose one of the 3 life circles in the middle. If you can prevent it from depleting fully, you'll avoid losing a life circle. Yep, sorry, that's the best way I can think of describing the 3 circles in the middle of the screen. When all 3 circles are gone, you'll die. Using a healing flask will refill 1 circle. The bar on the left gradually fills as you defeat enemies. Once completely filled, you'll level up. When you level up, it will also automatically fully restore your health. So it's sometimes worthwhile, it's worth the risk to hang on to your healing flask if you're close to leveling up. This came in clutch in situations where I ran out of healing flasks and had no way to heal. You have both parry and dodge roll options available to you. The roll is necessary for the shielded enemies and some of the tougher enemies later on that can wipe out a lot of your health with 1 hit. With these enemies, the best solution is to roll past them and strike from behind. As for the parry, when you pull it off, it's very satisfying. Pulling off a perfect parry will slow everything down and allow you to counterattack. Also, when you finish off an enemy while doing a combo, you'll see Takashi do an execution. It's very satisfying to pull off and looks very stylish. Right, now it's time to talk about the negatives. You may have noticed that I didn't mention level design as one of the positives. That's because I really wasn't impressed by it and found issues with it along the way, some of which I've given feedback on. While they did a great job with the atmosphere and gave the game a horror aesthetic, there were some things that were overlooked. There was a section that I found pretty early on in the game where I couldn't see a path forward. All possible paths forward resulted in death, and when climbing to the top of the section, there didn't seem to be a way out of the area. I spent a while in that section. I actually thought that it was a bug, but after a while I went on Discord to ask them about it, and I was told that there was a ledge above where I was that you can jump and grab onto. As this was the first instance of this in the game, I thought it should have been much clearer for the player. Now, this is minor compared to obstructions on the screen later on in the game. There are sections where you're fighting enemies with part of the scenery obstructing your vision. If you get attacked while moving through these obstructions, you're literally fighting blind. I ended up having to try and run back to a more open area just so that I could see the attacks coming. some enemies would move towards me and then just stop as if they were hitting an invisible wall. Then they would just start moving back and forth. So I'm sure that that's a bug which will probably be fixed. When you start having to face groups of tough enemies in some difficult gauntlets though, it can get very frustrating. But I'm not suggesting that they make the game easier. I'm just saying that there were definitely some rage moments when playing this game. I wasn't a fan of the stealth sections with the cats. I mean, there was only one section that I thought was pretty cool, and that's because of the giant enemy in the background, but the rest were annoying and I would have preferred to just stay in the action. Now, let's talk about the upgrading again, both at shrines and combat customization. One thing that I found extremely annoying about this is it doesn't automatically save your upgrades. You have to either make your way to the next save point or go back to the previous save point if you're able to. If you don't, you'll lose your upgrades and customizations if you die. This happened to me a lot and was really frustrating, especially since there are some long sections to fight through, tough enemies before getting to a save point sometimes. So having to go through the customization each time when it should save it automatically was very annoying. I gave feedback on this and I think it is something that they're working on. Now, the biggest issue I found was the boss fights. They're too easy. And that's not even a flex. They really are too easy. Now, to clarify that even further, there's no challenge to the boss fights at all. There was only one boss fight that took me 4 to 5 attempts, and that was because of the method you had to use to defeat it, where you're not actually attacking it directly. You know, when you get to it, you'll see what I'm talking about. Or I might actually do a video for this one, but it felt like it was just, you know, cheap difficulty rather than, you know, difficulty based on skill. One other boss took me 3 attempts. First attempt, I didn't know how to fight it. Second attempt, I figured it out but made a silly mistake. And third attempt, I beat it. Every other boss fight was extremely easy and was defeated in 1 to 2 minutes. Now, because of this, you know, because this is an indie game, and you know they may not have wanted the boss fights to be too difficult because, you know, some reviewers would put this as a negative and score it down. I can understand, you know, they make it a little bit easier, but you'll go through a gauntlet of tougher enemies to get to the fight, only to face a boss that's so easy that it feels like you're bullying him. There was a problem with the difficulty balance, and this was definitely my biggest issue with the game. Now it's time for the verdict. I like what they tried to do with this game, and I always like when devs try something new with their games. I love the voice acting, and the customizable combos system was a nice touch. I also love the aura vibes. However, the problems that I ran into and the things that were overlooked by the devs were too much of an issue for me to score this game highly. It's not a bad game, but I didn't enjoy it enough to call it good. So the Spirit of the Samurai is average. If you're still interested in this game, I do recommend that you try it out for yourself. I'm not sure how much it's going to cost, but there was a Steam demo, which is probably start there. Steam also has a refund policy, so take advantage of it if you buy it and end up not liking it. But these are my thoughts and opinions, you know, of what I played. But, you know, like I always said, it's important to try games out for yourself. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you found it useful, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and check out some other content. Thanks for watching.